Hello guys, this is Prashmita, lecturer in Commerce, SVS College, Pentwal. Let's continue the first chapter, and today we are going to discuss about email etiquette. So what is email etiquette? It means use of appropriate language, conventions and formality in an email. So business emails usually demand formal language and proper grammar and spelling. So how it should be the email? That is called email etiquette. Here are some things you need to keep in mind regarding professional email conduct. For writing an email, you need to consider certain things, that is, be informal, not sloppy. Your colleagues may use commonly accepted abbreviations, short forms in email, but when communicating with external customers, everyone should follow standard writing protocol. So, with your friends, with your colleagues, you can use abbreviations or short forms. But when you're communicating with your customers, you have to use standard writing protocol. So, you should avoid writing short forms in email. Your email message reflects you and your company, so traditional spelling, grammar, and punctuation rules will apply. So, the email message which is sent by you, that will represent your company. So, you are representing your company. So, you have to see that spellings are correct, proper grammar rules are applied, and punctuation rules are applied. So, you have to verify that before sending an email message to the client. Keep messages brief and to the point. So, message should be brief and it should be brief to the point. Just because your writing is grammatically correct doesn't mean that it has to be long. So, your message is grammatically perfect, but if it is too long, then it will lose the attention of the recipient. So, nothing is more frustration than wading through an email message that is twice as long as necessary. Concentrate on one subject per message whenever possible. So don't send too much files in a single message. Try to concentrate on one subject or one files in one email message. Use sentence case. Using all capital letters looks like you're shouting, and using of all lowercase letters that looks you're lazy or there's a lack of education. So, and the best thing is the first letter should be capital and the other should be in a lowercase. That is the format you can use for writing a message. For emphasis, use bold formatting to emphasize important word. For highlighting some important words, you can use bolding, and too much using of bold words will not look good. Do not, however, use a lot of color or graphics embedded in your message, because not everyone uses an email program that can display them. But using too many colors will not make the email perfect one. Email which has so many colors and patterned background are very difficult to read. So some important points may missed out, or if it is very difficult to read, then what is the purpose of sending an email? So, and heavy graphical backgrounds can clog in boxes and frustrate IT departments. So heavy what graphical designs if you are using, or backgrounds you are using, so then it will clog or it may block the in boxes, or it may lead to hanging of the device. Use blind carbon copy and carbon copy appropriately. So, what is a blind carbon copy and carbon copy? So, blind carbon copy means, see, in WhatsApp you will be sending a message to many people through broadcast message. Similarly, if you want to send email to many people, then you can use these two, that is blind carbon copy and carbon copy. And in case of carbon copy, the recipient who have received the email, they can see to whom the same email has been sent. So that means other recipients can be viewed by the recipients. But in case of blind carbon copy, this feature is not available. So the recipient will not able to see the person who has received the same email. Don't use BCC to keep others from seeing who you copied. It shows confidence when you directly CC or carbon copy, means if you send copies of emails to anyone receiving a copy. Do use PCC, however, when sending to a large distribution list. So recipients who have to see a huge list of names. So you can send BCC only when you want reply from a particular person, not from everybody. So if you want to ensure that whether your email has reached to a person or not, so in that case you can see or you can send email through carbon copy. Be cautious with your use of CC. Overuse simply clutters inboxes and copy only people who are directly involved. Don't use email as an excuse to avoid personal contact. Don't forget the value face to face or even voice to voice communication. So when there is possible to communicate with the person face to face or through calls, then you can communicate in that way. No need to send an email to them. Email communication is not appropriate when sending confusing or emotional messages. So email contains sentences. It will not express your feelings or emotions with the recipient. And when there is confusing messages or when the message requires clarification. So in that case, you should avoid sending an email. So because email will not clarify the confusions. Think of the times you have heard someone in the office saying, well, I sent you an email. If you have a problem with someone, speak with that person only. So when you can meet that personally, what is the necessity of sending an email to that person? Don't use email to avoid an uncomfortable situation or to cover up a mistake. Remember that email is not private. I have seen people fired for using email inappropriately. Email is considered as company's property and it can be retrieved, examined and used in a court of law. Unless you're using an encryption device, so that will protect your email. So you should assume that email over the internet is not secure. Never put in an email message anything you would not put on a postcard. Remember, email can be forwarded, so unintended audience may see whatever you have written. So while writing email, you should be very careful. The sentences or the wordings which you are using in email, that should be very much professional, because any person you have not sent a message to that person, he may read that. So for that purpose, you have to be very careful while framing a sentence. You might also inadvertently send something to the wrong party, so always keep the content professional to avoid embarrassment. So to avoid embarrassment, you have to keep your content professional. Be sparing with the group email. Send group email only when it is useful to every recipient, and use the reply all button only when compelling results requiring collective input and only if you have something to add. So you have to press reply all button when you want to ensure that all the other recipients of emails are connected, but it is not connected when you need reply only from one person. For example, from the supervisor you need response. Then if you are clicking the reply all button, other recipients, they may reply to that. So this may lead to hanging of the device. So to avoid this, you should use reply all button whenever necessary. Recipients may get annoyed to open an email that says me too. Use the subject field to indicate content and purpose. Don't just say hi or from Laura. Agree on acronyms to use that quickly identify actions. For example, your team could use to mean action required or for the monthly status report. So it is also good practice to include a word long in the subject field if necessary, so that the recipient knows the message will take time to read. So otherwise the important message which is there at the end may lose the attention of recipient. So in the beginning only, if you give a hint that there is a message which is very long, so this message is very long, if you mention it in the beginning, so recipients will read till end. Remember that your tone can be heard in email. Have you ever attempted sarcasm in an email and the recipient took it the wrong way? Because of cultural differences, some word may mean different. So that's why you should be very careful in using of words. Email communication can't convey the nuance of verbal communication. So the difference of using your word, that will not be communicated through email, because it will not express your feelings or emotions. It is in an attempt to infer tone of voice, some people use emoticons, but using of them sparingly, so that you don't appear unprofessional. So usually emoticons are used for friends, so it is okay for friends and not for uh, clients or some other people. Also, don't assume that using a smiley will diffuse a difficult message. So in WhatsApp you will be sending what smileys, but in professional emails, what using of smiley will not spread your message, or will not make the message which is difficult, or which has a deep message. Use a signature that includes contact information. So you have to use signature in order to ensure that people know who you are. Include a signature that has your contact information, mailing address, websites and phone numbers. So if you use this signature, your information can be known by the people who are accessing your email. So these are the things you need to consider while writing professional emails. So main thing is that you have to use formal language and proper grammar, punctuation rules and spellings, everything you need to consider while writing an email. Thank you.